Hello once again, baseball fans. It's me again, John Cosina. Day 3 of doing my off-season talks about teams, where they're at right now, what I feel like they should be doing as far as moves they have made, and just things that are on my mind. I've already done the West and the Central for the American League. If you want, go back and look at my other videos. You can check those out. I have to give forewarning. I'm a Yankees fan, and today I'm doing the ALEast, so expect some bias. Okay, that's just the way it is. Now the other divisions have kind of went from bottom to top. The East, I'm not going to, but yeah, I kind of am. So I'm gonna start with the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, first and foremost, their biggest loss this offseason has been Joe Maddon, and not only Joe Maddon but Dave Martinez. You lose your head coach and your bench coach. That means a lot, and that weighs on players because they do have good relationships with these guys, and then you just see them go off to the National League, and where they're probably gonna do something big for Chicago, hopefully. They have lots of returning position players all over the field, so less holes to fill on an everyday basis, but of course there are some spots that every team needs help in. Defensively, the Tampa Bay Rays have got guys everywhere that can make plays. They've got a lot of utility guys. Of course, the utility guy in the league, Ben Zobrist. They also have Logan Forsythe and Nick Franklin, guys that can play all over the infield and even some outfield. Starting three, their first three guys in the rotation are very good. Alex Cobb, Matt Moore, and Chris Archer. These guys are good, and a couple of them are pretty young. And as long as they're healthy, of course, always health. These guys are going to be challenging opposing teams. They have decent back end of the relief with Grant Balfour, but they're not a deep bullpen. So obviously there's going to be the guys there that they need. They have two special talents with Will Myers and Evan Longoria that can start on any team at any time. They're that good, and they almost look like they could be related. Ryan Hannigan behind the dish is probably the most underrated defensive catcher in baseball. I liked him with the Reds. I was scared of him when Tampa picked him up, and he helps this pitching staff, and he's going to continue to help the pitching staff. A staff that does not have David Price or Jeremy Hellickson, but they're going to be okay without them. A couple of needs, like I said, a couple of the back end of the starting rotation isn't all that great. If Odorizzi and Smiley don't perform, I don't see them going for anybody because they do have pitchers. But just in case, those are a couple guys to watch out for. Relief pitching, McGee is that closer, and he's not proven. Balfour is aging. I see a guy like Casey Jansen from the Toronto Blue Jays being a good pickup for Tampa. They know what he's all about. They've been up against him. They probably have a good scouting report on him right now. So really intelligent about what he would bring to that club. Outfield, they could use a little bit of help. I got a guy like Ryan Ludwig is a guy that could come in Tampa, DH here and there, play some outfield. Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, the Toronto Blue Jays have been a very interesting team this offseason. A lot of interesting moves. They've been very busy, but nothing that's really jumped off the page as a brilliant move. Yeah, they got Josh Donaldson. I personally feel like they gave up too much. Some people say they didn't give up enough. But we'll soon see how that pans out. Other stuff they've done though, they traded Adam Lynn for Marco Estrada, and now they're using Diner Navarro as a DH when they could have had a power hitting lefty and a guy that could play defensive first baseman better than Edwin Encarnacion. I don't know, understand that deal. Signed Justin Smoke. I guess they need a guy that can play defense better than Encarnacion at first, and hopefully he finds his swing in that ballpark. I had J.A. Happ trade, but I crossed it down because I think they're better off to have Michael Saunders, especially with their lack of outfield depth. And of course the outfield depth is hurt because they traded a guy like Anthony Gosaway, who would have been the starting center fielder. Looks like Colby Rasmus isn't coming back. Melky Cabrera is not going to be coming back, and those are two starters that you just like that they're gone. And then the guy that was going to come and take a place, he's gone as well. So kind of interesting. Um, Daniel Navarro, like I mentioned before, in my eyes, he's a waste of space on this particular team. He could do, he could, he could be a starter anywhere, not anywhere else, but a lot of other places. Um, and he's not a DH. He's not that good of a hitter to be an everyday lineup hitter. Let's see here. Starting pitching, they're either really old with like Burley or Dickey, or they're just tremendously young. We'll soon find out what that Knicks can bring to this team. Let's see, in the bullpen, they got some hard throwers, some young hard throwers, but they don't have anybody great. There's no studs, there's no standouts. However, the signing of Russell Martin was probably so far one of the top three best offseason moves, right there with Markakis and Nelson Cruz, which we'll get to a little bit later. But Russell Martin is going to help the young guys on the staff, and he might rejuvenate the old guys on the staff. But defensively, he's a guy that you want. He's a clutch hitter. Great pickup for Toronto, especially because he's Canadian. He's going to feel comfortable at home. Needs, of course, outfield help. However, I'm not going to say Melky Cabrera because they're not re-signing him. So shame on you, Toronto. But yes, Alex Rios is a guy that would fit into to Toronto really well. I got Michael Morse can be productive there, and Emilio Bonifacio, he could play anywhere, infield and outfield. As far as the bullpen, if they don't bring Casey Jansen back, I could see Sergio Romo's name going to be bouncing around pretty soon once these GM meetings hit. People that need relief help, especially later in the game relief help. I think Sergio's a guy that, why not Toronto if San Francisco doesn't re-sign him, that is. Starting pitching, I don't see them going for anybody in the rotation, even though they don't have a strong rotation, because they're a little bit too invested in what they have as far as the young guys and the old guys. Now getting to Baltimore, okay, big losses. Two of your starting outfielders, two of your best hitters, Nelson Cruz and Nick Markakis, are gone. And flat out, Adam Jones can't cover the entire outfield. He's a very good top tier center fielder, but he still does need help on both sides. Andrew Miller doesn't look like he's going to be coming back, and he had probably one of the best relief seasons in baseball. And I see him going to somebody in the division. We'll get to that a little bit later. But on the bright side, Crush Davis comes back from his HGH performance-enhancing drug suspension. They get Matt Wieters and Manny Machado back from injury. It's almost like adding a top catcher and a top third baseman, which they did miss down the stretch. The question mark here is, can the starting pitching do enough to keep winning games? Last year, they all did a little bit better than I expected them to. The bullpen did pretty good. However, there's only really three pitchers on this whole staff, starting and relievers, that I would want, and those are Tillman, Gossman, and Britton. Depth, they do have depth around the infield, but not in the outfield, so kind of an off-balance team. Targets, surprise, surprise, Cabrera, Alex Rios, these are two guys that could definitely help out in Baltimore. But if they don't get to the top outfielders that are available, they could go get a guy like Colby Rasmus, who does have a power bat, does play good defense, and again, Michael Morse is a big right-handed bat. Early pitching, they need to do all they can to bring back Andrew Miller. Also, I think Pat Neshek, another guy that they would really benefit having in their bullpen. Starting pitching is not strong, but I don't see them going to get anybody because they've got, you look at their depth chart, I think they have 7 guys listed on their starting rotation possibilities, so I don't think they're going to do anything there. Boston Red Sox, okay, look, I don't like these guys, I don't, and they've made some big moves, starting with Cespedes from last season. Of course, they signed Pablo Sandoval, a guy that I really wanted in New York. They signed Hanley Ramirez, a guy who I don't particularly care for, but they drafted him. They're bringing him back to wear a Red Sox uniform. They have a scary lineup full of boppers. Okay, all around the field, they got guys that can hit. Um, however, they've got too many guys. There's a lot of players. They have the LA issue. I call it the Dodger disease. There's too many outfielders. Okay, people are getting forgotten. Good players are getting pushed back. Jackie Bradley Jr., Daniel Nava, Alan Craig, Brock Holt, even Will Middlebrooks at third base. These are guys that I thought Boston should have, built up and kind of built around and spent, free agent money on pitching. However, they went opposite. They went and brought a bunch of expensive position player, big bats into Fenway. And, these young guys are going to get the short end of the stick. Some of these guys might end up getting dealt to try and bring some pitching help, but Boston's going to regret that if they do that later on down the line. Big question mark is their catching position. David Ross is a free agent right now. They have Christian Vasquez, a 24-year-old prospect that they're really high on, and then a 28-year-old named Dan Butler on their depth chart, both listed on the team. Butler's 28, but he's only played, I think, 7 games in the big leagues. And Vasquez just showed some promise, but, controlling a pitching staff, especially a pitching staff that isn't all that great, it's going to be a big position for Boston. And, they don't have a Veritek kind of guy back there, and that's something that they have been missing. Veritek, Saltalamacchia, those are the guys that they already miss. Starting pitching, look, Clay Buchholz and Joe Kelly, they can't throw every single day. And past those two guys, there's nobody I want to give the ball to in that rotation. And same thing with the bullpen. Their best reliever is going to be 40 years old starting the season, Koji Uhara. Okay? How much can you trust a guy that's old who he's got one specialty pitch, his splitter, and I know Mariano lived on one specialty pitch, but it was that good. Needs, of course, there's all this talk of Boston bringing John Lester back. Look, it's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Lester was a dedicated Red Sox player. Yeah, he would have done anything for the team. And when you ship a guy away and then try to say, oh, we're going to ship you away, we want you back, why ever get rid of him to begin with? Why not keep him, give him an extension, keep him happy, have yourself an ace for sure. Instead, now there's talk of them trading Cespedes, which was just a wash. So I don't think Lester's going to come back to Boston. However, they're going to need to go get some guys. There's a couple average guys that have been around, Gavin Floyd, Kevin Correa, that guys that, why not take a chance on them? They never played for really good teams, and if they have a lineup like Boston has, it could really benefit these guys like that. Also, a guy like Francisco Liriano, he could step right in and be the number 2 guy behind Buchholz, go righty, lefty, righty to get to Kelly. Relief pitching, I know they're trying to get Andrew Miller, the top left-handed pitcher on the free agent market, but they need experienced guys, talented guys. I think Luke Gregerson would be a good fit for them, although I don't want them to get somebody good. I'd rather them sign a guy like Jabba Chamberlain so New York can tee off on him all season long. And then as far as catcher, they need to re-sign David Ross because there's not any depth out there. There aren't a lot of options on the market unless they were to make a trade where a guy like Daniel Navarro would actually be a good fit for Boston. Now to the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers. My guys, the guys that I pay attention to all season long. To start with, look, biggest loss, Derek Jeter. Gotta give props to the captain. Look, he's the reason I became a Yankee fan. He played the game right, and he's already missed. That's going to be a huge spot to fill, and not many guys can do that. They can't just, put anybody there. They can't use. They shouldn't re-sign Steven Drew. First of all, I don't like the guy, but he doesn't live up to a Jeter. Free agents on the market don't get a Jed Lowry. He doesn't live up. What they're going to have to do is make a trade, and I'm going to get to that later. But it's a big hole at shortstop. they're getting 4 starting pitchers back from injuries of last year. Now that's just like getting a whole new starting rotation. If these guys are all come back healthy, then New York comes into the season with the best starting pitching staff in the East. I'll say that again. If these 4 guys, CC Sabathia, Tanaka, Pineda, and Innova, if these guys all come back healthy and do what they can do, along with Sean Green, who's gonna challenge them in the East? Tampa's got the next best rotation, and they've only got 3 guys. The bullpen, look, Dylan Betances had a standout year. Questionable Rookie of the Year votes. Of course, a guy like Abreu with the power numbers he put up was going to win that no matter what. But Betances, depending on what else they do this offseason, is going to slip into the closer role because I don't see them paying Robertson the money that he wants. He's kind of disrespecting the Yankees by asking for Mariano Rivera type money because, look, I love the high socks. I love the cutter. He's not a Mariano Rivera type guy. Sean Kelly also is a good back of the bullpen kind of guy. Justin Wilson they traded for. That's already three good guys, 7, 8, 9. I was upset that they traded Francisco Cervelli, but when you look deeper into the Justin Wilson pickup, he's an Andrew Miller-esque type left-handed arm out of the bullpen, and they need that right now. They really do. They need all the help they can. They had a decent run with young guys getting their first taste of the league, cup of coffee kind of, no name, sorry to say it, no name type relievers. But they need guys who know what they're doing and have an idea what the major leagues are all about. Always with the Yankees, there's too much age. Carlos Beltran, Mark Teixeira, Prado, Chris Young, Brendan Ryan. And don't forget, A-Rod's coming back. So there's a hole at third base as well because Chase Headley is still a free agent that the Yankees are talking to. So as far as needs, look, they're hot on the trail of Andrew Miller. If they were to get Andrew Miller, Sean Kelly, Justin Wilson, Dylan Betances, those 4 guys alone make them the best bullpen in the American League East. So the best pitching staff in the East gives them an advantage going into day 1. Starting pitching, look, they don't need any starting pitching, but Max Scherzer is available. And if you can go bring a guy like Scherzer in and have a Scherzer, Sabathia, Tanaka, Pineda would then be a guy they can move, a guy they could use as a 4 or 5 guy in their rotation, or see what he's got out of the bullpen. See if you can get 2 or 3 solid innings out of him instead of trying to stretch him out and really show off the injury-prone arm that he does have. Outfield, hey look, I'm going to say Melky Cabrera because I liked him as a Yankee. I would love for him to come back. Also, Ichiro Suzuki. I've been talking about age, but Ichiro is one of my favorite players of all time. I forgot to mention him with Seattle. I think if he doesn't go back to New York, he should go back to Seattle. Great ball player, great teammate, fan favorite. Third baseman, look, if Chase Headley doesn't come back to New York, Martin Prado is going to play there. Same with A-Rod. At second base, they're going to use Prado if they don't bring somebody else in. The only other person I would hope to see them bring in at second base, Alberto Callaspo. And then of course there's that hole at shortstop. And as far as the free agent market right now, the only 2 guys I would accept the Yankees signing and putting there are both last name Cabrera. Everett Cabrera as Drupal Cabrera. However, I've got these little deals going on in the back of my head where the Yankees find a way to bring in the next best shortstop, number 2, Troy Tulowitzki, number 2. Look, I said I wasn't going to speculate trades. However, this is a guy they need to go get. If that means that they have to trade one of their starting pitchers, one of their relievers, do it. Okay? I'll make a trade right now. Brett Gardner, Mark Teixeira, Sean Kelly, Ivan Nova, and you give us Tulowitzki, Justin Blackmon, and a bucket of balls. click on it. Come on, Colorado, let's do it. Cashman, hook me up. I need a job. I'll be back tomorrow into the National League. Not sure if I want to go National League East to West or West to East. Start with the Central, flip a coin where I'm going to go from there. But stay tuned because I'm going to be back. GM meetings start up soon, and I expect with the GM meetings to be a lot of movement. Okay, the pitching hasn't really started moving off of the free agent market yet. The hot stove is boiling though. I expect to see Lester and Andrew Miller being the first to sign, and then just a snowball effect. It's going to get crazy. Pitchers are going to be getting signed up left and right, so stay tuned. If you don't follow that stuff, I'll try to be your best eyes and ears. Check back with me. Thanks again. Peace. One love. Yankees.